When usually we think about the Catholic saints, we tend to overlook their human faults. For example, when we think of St. Paul, despite his mistakes and how he persecuted the church, we tend to remember St. Paul's achievement as apostles. This is also a tendency when we think about other saints or celebrities who are successful in society, or priests and religious people. People only expect good things from them. So many people don't want to show their weaknesses because they are afraid of disappointment and criticism. However, we cannot help but acknowledge that we all have weaknesses, and St. Paul didn't hesitate to show and acknowledge his weakness, because that is where we see God at work. Today we celebrate the memory of the Apostle Barnabas, and we cannot neglect the Apostle Paul when we talk about Barnabas. The meaning of Barnabas is son of encouragement or son of consolation. And we can see why he could be the son of encouragement by looking at how he helped Paul in the Acts of Apostles. We know the story of St. Paul about how he persecuted the church and how he converted. He was persecutor at the beginning. Then he became Christian, a follower of Jesus. But he was still never accepted by many Christians because of his past. And he was hunted by the Jewish people because they felt he betrayed them. Therefore, he went to Jerusalem to meet the leaders of church, but he wasn't permitted to be an official member of that community. Eventually, he had to return to Tarsus. It took a long time until Paul finally became a real missionary, and it was Barnabas who provided the opportunity. When all the believers in Jerusalem feared Paul, only Barnabas accepted him and led him to the apostle. Also, when Barnabas was sent to Antioch, he went to Tarsus to meet Paul. In this way, he led Paul, who was alone and felt abandoned, and went on mission not only to Antioch, but also to much of Asia Minor. Like this, Barnabas is a benefactor who gave Paul great comfort and encouragement. While living as a friar and priest, I also sometimes live with the challenges I cannot share with other people. Of course, all of us may sometimes fall into a type of depression or feel anxious. I was a little surprised when I heard Jordan Peterson, who is one of the mentors for young people, was prescribed for depression too. Anyway, then we can think of how the priest or mentor of people feel that. We might be tempted to think that such a person may not feel that way. Can those who preach the word of God be so weak? That's why many religious try to put up with all these challenges alone and keep under the mind, because criticism is not so small issue. And all people also experience these challenges. Parents for their kids, teachers for their students, politicians for their general public. All of us sometimes face these situations. And now thinking, how can we rise again? Sometimes we feel trapped in a dark tunnel, but how do we get the power to overcome it all again? We know it's possible. It is because God strengthened us through people like Barnabas. I have friars here, and you all have your family, your friends, and your teachers, and you have us, and we have you. Everyone around us can be our Barnabas. St. Paul could be encouraged by Barnabas, and we live in that way as well. We all may live in need of someone's encouragement, even if they seem strong at the moment. Also, we are called to encourage one another. Just remember, Jesus is doing this, and this is how the good news spreads in the world.